Hey there everybody, this is Caitlin here and welcome to Card Game Wednesday, the day of the week where we enjoy all things card game related, and we're coming with you here with pretty much a snap, quick and very fast feature match that we actually have here. It is between Ewan, who's on the right hand side with Mars, and between John, who is on the left hand side and has yet to reveal his ruler because he's being sneaky like that. But we are pretty much casual at our locals here. This isn't like a terribly serious matchup and whatnot, because while it is a very fast game and there are some quite good plays whatever in this matchup, there are a few times where one or two people maybe make a couple of mistakes here, as John reveals that his ruler is actually Yogg. So this is actually the second game in this match rather. So the previous game, John lost. He has decided that he is going second to get his energize and everything. So Ewan will be going first in this matchup. He's playing Mars. I believe his is a red and white Mars deck, while John's is a black and red. So we're both getting a little bit of red action on both sides of the field here, but very interesting. John also decides to mull his entire hand, so he clearly wasn't too happy with what he drew there, to the point where he decided, I need to get rid of his entire hand and everything. So all in all, these decks are quite interesting. It's a different way from playing Yogg, as Ewan shows off his hand here to show how much stuff he has. I believe his version of Yogg here is one that he sides into Yogg, but his main ruler is actually Rhea, because I do know he's using Rhea stones with this build actually. So I believe his main one is Rhea. So Ewan starts off here, he's tapping Mars for stone. He gets a magic stone of Heat Ray. A very nice stone there. It produces light and fire, obviously. He pays the 1 for Ancient Heartfelt Fire, which gives him 3 more mana counters for his ruler, and he ends his turn. John taps for a stone here on his turn and gets a Rhea stone, which allows him to gain a mystery counter. So he must have some kind of mystery counter mechanic in here, even though he's not using Rhea, to get even more counters. So he pays 1 and energize from his Yogg to play the Mikage Sisters here, and he ends his turn. Ewan upkeeps and recovers everything. Tapping for stone, he gets just a basic firestone. Pretty much standard here, because he's not running all jewel stones to get access to light, because I believe light is not really substantial for his deck, but rather the fire is more important in terms of Mars for like his ancient magic. He pays 2 for Melgus, the King of Conquest, who is a pretty annoying card to deal with here. He is super duper annoying. So he decides to swing in with Melgus since it has swiftness, and players can't gain life. So John can't even respond by tapping the Mikage Sisters to gain life, sadly. He would only be taking life away from Ewan, which isn't really that much of a trade-off. So instead, he's thinking about blocking, which he does decide to do, and they trade damage and they both die. Because obviously Melgus only has 400 defense, so the Mikage Sisters do win in actually managing to kill the Melgus. It then goes on to John's turn. He draws a card. He gets a magic stone of Scorched Bales. I know it looks like a blank card there on the field, but actually this is proxy because we are pretty casual. But he decides to end his turn there. He has nothing to do. He's keeping both his stones up, and Ewan is going to draw a card for his turn. Upkeeps everything, gets a stone. He needs to get another magic stone of Heat Ray, which is lovely there for him. Decides to pay all 3, and he is sticking in here the Melgus, King of Black Flame, who can be a pretty scary guy if left unchecked, swinging there for 700, and he has to take it because John sadly has no blockers and he has no response to Melgus here. And then Ewan decides to pass his turn. John draws his card here, contemplating what to do before his upkeep, because he has obviously the 2 stones open. He has the opportunity to quick cast something, so he pays the 2 and decides to play the Sword of the Half Moon, which is a Rhea cluster card. It's 2 cost, gives Melgus -6/-6 until the end of the turn, so that was a pretty smart play here. He taps his Yogg to get the Scorched Bale stones, and then uses those 2 Scorched Bales to play the Hoelisaurus, which deals the 300 damage to Melgus, enough to kill him, and passes to Ewan's turn here. Ewan puts his stones back up, he taps for a stone, he gets just another basic firestone, and decides to pay 4 for Salamander, which deals 600 to both the Hoelisaurus and to John himself, so some damage burn has happened here on that side of the field. He decides to end his turn there, and goes on to give John his turn, who taps for a stone and gets Scorched Bales, actual card this time, he doesn't have to proxy this one. I believe he only has 2 copies of Scorched Bales, so that's why we're proxying. He pays the 2 Scorched Bales to play another Hoelisaurus to deal that damage to Salamander, and then Lethal Arrows, which is a nice combination to be dealing damage with a Resonator and then kill it away with a Lethal Arrow, since it's only a 1 cost, which is very, very nice. It is now Ewan's turn. He's now thinking about what he wants to do here. He just taps for a stone, gets another basic Firestone. So now he is contemplating on what to do now. He's got a lot of stones up here, which is very, very nice. He has a couple of options that he can do. He's also still got the 5 mana counters on his ruler, which he seems to be debating about whether he actually wants to spend them. He's contemplating about it now, playing about with the dice. Not sure whether he wants to wait, save it for later, because Holosaurus has only got 600, so it's not too major a threat. It's already done its intern effect, so it's not going to be doing too much else while it's on the field now. He also wants to consider what stones he wants to play for his next turn, because obviously he might want to have the access to the 2 light well that he still has here. He doesn't want to accidentally spend those and then realise, oh no wait, I actually want to use that well, because his light resources are rather limited in this stone pool, I believe. He goes to pay 2, and he is using up at least 3 of his mana counters here. For the Time Bomb, actually. The Time Bomb is very, very interesting here. So he's awakened it so that instead of like blowing up on the end of John's turn, it's actually going to be blowing up at the end of Ewan's turn, which will deal 1000 damage to the Hoelosaurus, and it will also deal 1000 damage to John, meaning his life is only at 1700 now, which is kind of scary, actually. Now, in particular, this turn is one where there was a slight mistake made on the part of, well, technically on the part of John here, because what happened here is that he pays 1 for the Nameless Mist, which allows him to reveal his hand. But Ewan kind of changed that by using Blood Boil while it's in his hand to deal 600 to John here. He then goes on to reveal his hand. Initially, John thinks, I can get rid of Salamander, but then we do remind them both at the side, because we are recording this at the side of the table and everything. We remind him that he cannot select Salamander as his choice because it needs to be a non-resonator card. So now they are both debating about basically how much damage each card here has. So he has Lightning Strike and he has Invitation to Disaster. So after a little bit of discussion here, John decides that he's going to get rid of the Invitation of Disaster. But in the process, I believe, of this whole exchange and the rest of John's turn, he has a little fatal error here where he actually forgets to tap Yogg for a stone. I believe because he recovered the stones but then forgot to recover the Yogg as well, so he must have just assumed that he'd already tapped for a stone, which is a tad unfortunate. It might have given him a little bit more leeway in getting stones, but considering how fast this matchup here, it probably wouldn't have mattered. He just pays the 2 for Mikage Sisters and passes the turn. Then before they draw here, Ewan goes to Lightning Strike John here, dealing 5 to him, and in response to that as well, John then taps the Mikage Sisters to gain 2 and deal 2 to Ewan. So overall, Ewan is sitting prey on 38 here as he goes to tap for a stone and get another Magic Stone of Heat Ray. He then Blood Boils again, he loves that card a lot, to deal 600 to John, and then plays for Salamander to basically finish the game very, very swiftly. So probably getting that extra stone wouldn't have done John much help here, because, you know, Ewan basically had the game by the end of that next turn there. He just sealed everything off and he managed to get his win. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this very swift game here. Let me know in the comments down below which deck you'd like the look of so far. We have the light red Mars, or we have the black red Yogg to the side here. Let me know if you want to see some more feature matches in the future, and until next time, guys, I will see you all later.